NASA behind the scenes. In my opinion, the launch of NASA was one of the greatest events in the history of the United States. I believe that we should have continued funding NASA on the same level, but there is also a good side to the funding cuts. Overall, I believe that this debate will always have pros and cons, but I think in the long run, the NASA rocket program will not be too terribly missed. Economic. Private organizations are growing with lack of the NASA rocket program. With NASA no longer sending rockets to space, private industry has begun growing. NASA was the original major power in the United States with space exploration and rockets, and with NASA keeping control for several decades, it made it difficult for private companies to excel. According to NASA's innovation impacts across the U.S., NASA has partnerships with some U.S. companies that can use NASA's ideas to create spin-offs and improve the fields of health and medicine, consumer goods, renewable energy, transportation, and manufacturing. When NASA works with private companies, it not only benefits the local economy, but also helps the national competitiveness with the world. A NASA program, SBIR-STTR, encourages technological innovations by helping smaller, particularly disadvantaged high-tech companies. It's like giving a haircut to a bald man, says Phil Plait, writer of Slate's Bad Astronomy blog. NASA already is under budgeted, but yet there are still budget cuts. Unfortunately, in this economy, even a small budget cut is good news. Legal. The Office of the General Counsel is responsible for providing leadership in legal situations regarding NASA. Some examples include establishing legal policy and interpreting new bills. It is also responsible for developing the patent program requirements and establishing quality standards. The Office of the General Counsel represents NASA to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. The Council also provides legal advice to all the offices at NASA headquarters. Political. Throughout its existence, NASA has tried to manipulate its image to the public, so the public will give it support. According to Politics and Controversial Issues through Duke University, from the 50s to the 60s, NASA used nationalism to gain support. It did this by telling the public that in order for the USA to be a successful nation, we needed a great space program. In the mid-60s, NASA needed to gain public support in a new way. NASA used romanticism to capture the public. During this time, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong had walked on the moon, and the U.S. was fascinated by the idea of space exploration. Social. In her book, Rocket Dreams, How the Space Age Shaped Our Vision of the World Beyond, Marina Benjamin says that space exploration has changed our world in many ways. Seeing our world from space has changed our view in many unknown ways, dramatically affecting our connection to our planet and the natural world. The major budget cuts for NASA has caused some serious controversy. There are many mixed views and different pros and cons. It is a topic that is greatly debated and very popular. During the Cold War, as the US and Russia engaged in the space race, our society became very socially engaged. Space exploration and rockets were stuff of science fiction, but now it was becoming reality. These new technologies began stimulating our imagination, which led us to creating pop culture. NASA-US cultural connection. Science fiction was around in the 20th century, but when NASA was founded in 1958, it created a whole new level. As NASA blasts off, it helps usher in the space age. With the space age came an explosion of American pop culture and art, including movies, architecture, and design. The space age caused us to become preoccupied with technology and the future. Entertainment like The Jetsons, War of the Satellites, Star Trek, and Star Wars are all were inspired by the space age, and ergo the creation of NASA. This is my bibliography. Thank you for your time.